Hello, everybody. I don't know if you heard Luna bark, but she's saying hello too. Roger will be here soon. He's stuck in traffic, but he'll arrive shortly. For anybody that's joining, we're just going to be doing another really casual reading sprint. At least we'll be reading, but you're welcome to do something else productive. But we'll go ahead and let you know what we're going to be reading. Sean, do you want to say what you're reading first?
I'm still reading Libra by Dawn DeLillo.
Oh, hello. I'm restarting Vinland Saga. I read a manga last time we did a sprint. I just find sprints work well, I think, during or for reading manga, because it's about the amount of time that I can read a volume. So I think it works out.
True.
Plus, there's no audiobooks for manga. I mean, obviously, a lot of them have anime adaptations, but I find I can do other things while listening to an audiobook, but I can't really do that for these. So I just feel like the really zeroed in reading time is helpful for this. Oh, very nice. How do you like this series so far? I've heard, I mean, I'm planning to read it this month. I'm really excited. The three big ones are the first book in Age of Madness, A Little Hatred, Guards, which is a Discworld book, and then Gideon the Ninth. Those are like high priority for me. So I'm really excited. I have already started two of them. So Gideon's the only one that I need to restart. Hello, Sarah. What are you going to be reading, Sarah? Yay, Witch Hat! That makes us happy. Although, Sean, you're not caught up yet, right?
Oh, no.
I think you need to read the newest one.
I do.
And he has to read the newest Spy Family. Because you read up to 10 of Witch Hat, right? And up to 9 of Spy Family, and then both the newest volumes.
Yes.
Yeah. I love Witch Hat. I do think it takes a few volumes. I say this a lot. I think it takes a few volumes before it's really getting into the heavier themes. And the heavier themes are still done in a way where it's not like all of a sudden it's going to be grotesque violence or anything like that. But it's still very much a kind of, when you really think about it, it's quite depressing. I just feel like it's about how society as a whole is kind of sucks. Oh, I don't know if I know that one. Have you started it already? Feybound. So Jashana has read that one and she really liked it. We were supposed to buddy read it, but she got excited, so she's already read it, and I'm just waiting for the audiobook. I do have the pretty Fairy Loot edition. I'm assuming you do as well, Sarah. And I think because it's Fairy Loot, that means the UK edition came out before the US. I think they had just slightly different release dates. Gave Gideon 4 stars. I've heard that, I think from Christy, that this series, the next books make you feel like your memory of the previous books are wrong, or previous book. So that'll be interesting.
Is that intentional? Or?
Yeah, I think so. It kind of makes you question
everything?
Yeah.
Reality itself?
Oh, I just finished Evershore not that long ago, the third one. So I'm all ready to get into Defiant. I just got to get around to a few other things first. I didn't realize. Yay! I've meant to pick it up for so long, and I feel really bad. I feel like I've disappointed so many people. I started it years ago, and then I wasn't by any means disliking the beginning of it. I think it was around the time that I had to have my appendix taken out, though. So everything just kind of went sideways. Yeah. Man, those all, I need to look into all of those. They all have really cool names. There's a joke among us that I rarely like the Hugo Award winners. I always think they're innovative and creative, but I often don't connect that much to them. What was the one that you really, the Wind-Up Girl, was that a Hugo?
It co-won the Hugo with The City in the City.
And you didn't really like that either?
No, but the Wind-Up Girl is poo-poo. I wouldn't say the City and the City was poo-poo. City and the City was just not my favorite, but the Wind-Up Girl, big thumbs down.
You DNF'd that, and that's
I
rare for
did.
you.
I wanted to throw that book against a wall.
Sean pretty much never DNFs anything. He'll power through. I mean, the fact that you read through, how long was Cryptonomicon?
Ugh. It's like 1,000 pages.
Yeah, that I will say though was a buddy
Also
read
poo-poo.
with his dad. So I feel like he felt compelled to keep going. He hated that one. But anyway, that just goes to show it's rare for Sean. I feel like your dad even said we don't have to keep reading this. And you're like, no, I'll keep going. It's supposed to be buddy reading with my friend. Oh. Yeah, I went ahead and ordered the audiobook with one of my credits. I try really hard not to do that and use libraries, when they're available through the library. But that one, I would have had to wait so long because I have it where I get the notifications when certain books come in. And that one, by the time I got the notification and got around to actually putting a hold on it, it was, you're 60 something in line. It was one of those things. I'm like, all right, I'll use a credit. Hi, Christy. Christy, were you on when I was saying that the Gideon series, I think you said in a video that the sequels make you question your memory of the first book, right? Is that correct? If you're still around. Also, Christy, I'm assuming you're reading Map of the Otherlands because we're buddy reading it. Ninth House. I wish I'd liked Ninth House more. I like a lot of it in theory, but the execution for me, I didn't love. But then it's one of those series where when the second one came out, I'm like, should I give it a go? I mean, I didn't absolutely hate the first one, but I've heard mixed things about the second one, so I don't know. Maybe when the whole series is out. Rarely like, Roger's here. Hello.
Hi.
Can we hear you, or are you muted? You might be muted.
I don't know. Can you hear me?
Muted.
That would be weird if everybody was.
Wait, is it muted? Like our...
Wait, Roger, speak again.
Hello?
Hello. Okay. My computer had the volume turned off, so it was my fault.
I was like, it doesn't say I'm muted.
Hello. How was traffic?
Oh, it's fine. It wasn't terrible for Southern California. It was just more than the GPS told me. It was a liar.
I think GPS always underestimates.
Well, there was that, and then there was a bunch of fire trucks and ambulances driving by as soon as I was trying to come into my driveway.
That's fun. We're just going through comments. You're okay. That's what I thought. Locked Tomb series is a weird read. Just finished Nona last night. I've heard it's weird, but I'm kind of excited.
I keep thinking about trying it, and then I keep forgetting that it exists.
So I was saying earlier that A Little Hatred and Guards are my highest priority for the rest of the month. But I did start Guards and I started A Little Hatred. I think with A Little Hatred, I'm thinking about doing a reading vlog. I don't know.
Now, is guards, then exclamation point?
No,
or is
it's
it guards.
Exclamation point, guards, exclamation point.
Well, so you're not saying it right. It's guards. That's how you say that book title.
I do in my notes. I do smile to myself when I make the effort to put in the exclamation point for both.
I wouldn't do that.
Okay, I'm supposed to shout guards, but I'm not.
When you write it.
That's just GG.
Okay, Christy, I just was really excited.
I mean, that's just how buddy reads work with Elle. You just have to start like 3 or 4 days before she says she's going to start, and then you'll probably finish-ish around the same time.
I know, but it came out yesterday.
For which book?
Map of the Otherlands. It's the sequel to Encyclopedia of Fairies, which I was very excited about. And it was a lot of fun.
Well, then you needed to have gotten an arc of it, Christy, and then you maybe could have beaten her.
And then there's the occasional time when something comes up and then I'm like, I'm sorry. And months later, I'm like, I think I'm going to read it now.
Tyranny of Faith.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I think I mentioned that Tori has said, because she got an arc of the third one, that she does recommend going pretty much right from the second to the third, because a lot of what happens at the end of book 2 is relevant and important to remember. So
I don't think it'd be that hard to remember. The end of book 2 is quite a time.
So I'm excited to. I requested it on Libby, the audiobook, and I got it. So I should be picking that up either toward the end of this month or beginning of next month, depending on how long my hold is, and then I can go as soon as the third one's out. I can go into that. Second person is not. I hate second person. I hate it. It's one of the. I know a lot. I know why it's done the way it is in Broken Earth, but I just never care for
Broken Earth cracked me up because I was like, oh, I'm apparently a pregnant woman now. News to me.
What?
Broken Earth trilogy in the beginning when there's like the mom who's having a child or whatever. I was like, I never finished it.
I forgot that was. Is she?
I don't know if she's pregnant or has a baby. I
think the opening is that like her child died, right?
I don't remember.
I don't think she's pregnant. Let's see. Fun time or don't. Let me be a town or two. Fun time. Yeah, I'm sorry. I rarely read things over the course because I feel like that's what most people do. They read things over the course of,
at least 2 or 3 days. Yeah.
Yeah. Sean with his dad, they'll read a book over the course of the whole month. And I'm like, I
mean, I've done that style before when you say this week is chapters 1 through 15, next week is chapters 16 through 30. So you have like.
You made such a noise just now. I went,
No,
it's not that hard. Just say I'm reading 100 pages or whatever. Like that's it. That's all you have to do.
Was at myself because in my head, it's not at you guys. I don't think it's odd. I know most people do that and it's normal. I just have a hard time because I always want to keep going. But when I sit down to do most tasks.
You didn't read Cryptonomicon.
That's true. I didn't read that.
That is like.
I would take time.
Thank the universe that you read 100 pages of that book. That you didn't die while reading it.
Yeah. I was glad I was warned about second person so I could prepare myself for it. Do I start book 4 Wheel of Time tonight or the first Witcher book?
If by the first Witcher book you mean one of the short stories, I'd say the short stories. Go for it. Fun, quick.
Wheel of Time 4 is actually decent though, which is
a lot of people's favorite. Yeah. It's a lot of people's favorite, but it depends if you're enjoying books 1 through 3. If you're not, you should just give up now because it's not going to get better.
That's true.
That's the thing is people. I always heard, if you read, like basically nobody reads book 4 and then doesn't want to keep going. And I was like, book 4 is what made me not want to keep going because of what you just said. Where I'm like, if this is one of the best in the series and there's 10 more. I just don't know.
Lord of Chaos is pretty good too.
I feel like if book 2 didn't hook you, then it's not going to be the series for you because book 2 is a lot of people's top or in the top.
There was just a lot of like angst. I remember with Elaine, and they're like, "Please pass along this note," and so I'm like, "Huh." I was so annoyed. I mean, that was the very beginning. But then there's the whole one of the. This isn't a spoiler. Just there's that certain thing that happens in books where an enemy is like, I'm gonna wipe their memory right after this, but the reader knows, and then you have to sit there and watch the characters be like, I feel kind of fuzzy, like I don't quite remember what just happened, and I don't know why that annoys me so much. There's certain times that it can be pulled off, but and by the way, these are all really tiny examples. As a whole, Wheel of Time just wasn't really for me. Golden Kamui, I obviously need to read more of that. Yeah, a lot of people really like it. I liked books 1 through 3.
But you should like book 4. It's not till book 6, 7 that people start to feel like.
I don't know if I'll keep going.
Book 8 is already in the slog. Home Skillet.
Book 9 is rough. Is that Winter's Heart? Yeah.
I think book 8 is. Book 9 is
No, 10 is Crossroads. Yeah, because then 11 is Knife of Dreams. Yeah, that
I feel like Crown of Swords, people feel like it's starting to slow down, which is 7.
Yeah.
And then book 8, Winter's Heart, is when you start feeling like things are going to happen. But then books 9 and 10, you go back to other perspectives of what they were doing consecutive with the events of Winter's Heart, right?
Wait, we're missing one. 9 is Winter's Heart. Path of Daggers, is that 8?
Maybe.
Nah, I have to look. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm looking at Wheel of Time.
I mean, even if you like the plot, good luck.
About to start Vengeful. I didn't like it. I don't think you're alone in that. I think most people don't like that second book. It's not that they hate it, but I think a lot of people think the first one was a lot better. I saw that Victorious is the third one, and she's mapped it out because she does pretty thorough outlining. So I think she's going to start the third one. And she did always intend for it to be a trilogy. So I don't know if you're planning on continuing, or if you hated it so much that you're like, we'll just pretend the first one was a standalone.
Path of Daggers was 8. Winter's Heart is 9.
Worst Crossroads is the worst for sure. I love Wheel Time so much it hurts to always hear the hate.
I really liked Towers of Midnight.
Towers of Midnight. Which one's that?
That's the first Sanderson one, right?
Yeah, like book 12 or something.
Yeah, that's correct.
So, since we're talking about big epic fantasy worlds, Roger, my replay of Elden Ring has gone so fast. Because sometimes when, like, if Sean goes to bed or something and I want to listen to an audiobook, I'll just find a spot, not the bird spot, because that's boring. I used to use that spot to level up, but there's that spot in the Haligtree area where there's an Erdtree boss, and then there's those knights. It's where you're by Melania. But once you kill the stupid Erdtree thing, the knights give you a ton of runes. And then if you go down the ladder, there's those weird things that come up out of the ground. And
Was
they're
that
like
Haligtree or Lendell still?
No, this is Haligtree.
Oh.
Yeah. And those things give you so much. And so I'll just sit and like do that over and over and over again, go back to the save. And I feel like I broke the game. I feel like I'm too high leveled at this point because nothing's very hard. Millennia was like, it took a few tries, but that was about it. Everything else has been kind of easy. And I'm like, I don't
it felt to be a mage. But it was easy the second you got Comet Azure.
This at the beam.
The beam.
Yeah.
Sean always, he's like, beam. That's how he determines if he likes a game now. Is there a mega
Is
beam?
there a beam in it?
Well, I mean, the second you got it, you could literally just do your little Terra Magica or whatever it was, pop your crystal tier flask that gives you infinite mana, and just hold down beam until it's dead.
I always appreciated when, as somebody who did like a melee strength build, when people who did magic builds would be like, no, it's just as hard for us. I'm like, no, it's not. I have to get right up to hit the...
I mean, it is hard until you got Comet Azure, when you have like just the little pebbles that like chip off. And you're like, no, get away from me. And then you're trying to like run away.
I do think that now that I'm so beefed up, I feel like now it's too easy. For anybody that likes Elden Ring, maybe this is interesting. I feel like most people are probably like, I don't know what they're saying anymore.
I feel like I would never play the Catacombs again, though. I'll probably just beat the main bosses whenever I decide to replay it, because I did them all the first time, and I think once was enough.
I don't like the one Hero's Tomb or whatever, where the stupid like stuff comes down.
Is that the one behind Radon?
No, not that one. It's by Lendell, kind of north, I think, unless I'm misremembering which ones are where. Let's see, back to book chat. I feel like it's required nerd homework to read Wheel of Time.
Or at least try it. I think it's fair to try the popular series.
I think it's fair to try. I gave up 75% into Eye of the World. I love fantasy, but no matter what the series, when they travel a lot, I tend to lose interest. That is tough. And then travel...
Wheel of Time is not for you, because there is lots of traveling, lots of descriptions of clothing and peoples and places.
Yeah, I think a lot of series at older fantasy series had a lot of traveling. Tried it when you were 16. That's Sean read it growing up. While you play Witcher 3, fun. I give
That's fair.
That is fair, yeah.
It's just okay, like there's 14 of them. I think that's the thing. When I was reading them, there weren't 14 of them. There were...
I don't care, because I'm reading Anita Blake just released book 30. Driss just released book 39, and like I'm caught up on all of those. So like big series are not 14 is like whatever.
But that's the thing though. But you're caught up though. Like when
Caught up on Wheel of Time too.
No,
He
but I'm
means-
saying when the next Dritz book comes out, you just need to read one book. Like
Yeah, but I just read what 2 years ago. Like I read it when all 14 were already out.
I know.
And
that's
I've
what I'm saying,
reread
that's terrible.
Dritz,
I'm saying
and
that's terrible. I'm saying that's an awful experience. I'm saying I had to read like 7, maybe, and then like it was like, oh, well, let's wait for 8 to come out. Let's wait for 9 to come out. All the way to 14. That's easy. But having a 14 book series sitting in
It was
front of me,
because I've reread all of Anita Blake from start to finish over like a summer. I've read all of Drizzt
Sean
from.
doesn't even like if something's a series. He's like, so. Finished First Law, and I saw What to Do Now, Best of Cold, Better of Cold.
Oh, Roger, I'm reading your favorite author though, Don DeLillo.
He was fine. It just got a little weird, and I didn't understand the point.
Part 3 was very odd. So I, for anybody that hopped in later, I started A Little Hatred, and I'm through part 1, and I of course messaged Leanna to be like, look at what I'm rating.
I still haven't continued. I read the original trilogy, and that's it.
Yeah, I'm like, I hope there's a reveal about potential parentage not being what you think it is. I think there is some implications later, but right now I have none of that, and I'm just hoping, which I'm trying not to give anything away. But if you know, you know. Yeah, I know, Sean. I'll fill you in. I'll fill you in later. Hold on. I'll type it for Sean.
I don't know what book you're talking about.
A Little Hatred, the First Law continuation series. That's the
that is
long series don't bother me. That does help because that's made up of so many smaller.
See, I love it. I love long series because then when I like it, I know that there's a lot to continue diving into. I'm the opposite of Sean. Like I get excited if it's a good series.
No.
9 books. I finished the whole. Oh! I see what you mean. You finished.
Is that First Law?
Very nice.
First Law.
My brain can't remember what I did too. Let alone. Yay! Engines of Empire. I hope you like it. It takes a while to get going, and then once it starts moving, I think it's great. Interestingly, there's some parallels to Age of Madness and Engines of Empire where they're both kind of on the cusp of the technological revolution, if you will, and kind of people who are getting put aside because of technology. But then religion and magic sort of, they have their own say. There's guilds, and I really like it. Roger, I think you would like that series.
I own book 1. I just keep forgetting. I think I even have it with me. I kept it with me. It's not like in the storage unit. It's like here. And I have book 2. I just haven't read them.
I think you'll like it. I think you'll like, what's her name? I always forget if it's Rosamund or I think it's Rosamund. Who's like the matriarch of this family and this guild. I think you'll like her character. First 3 and Best of Cold, and they were all fine. LOL. That's fair. I mean, I'm enjoying A Little Hatred, I think, more already than when I first started the beginning of the series. I like Best of Cold, I think, more than any. I really liked the second book in the series, though. So I don't know. I like it, but I get it's definitely not for everybody.
I mean, very low magic.
Yeah.
Very kind of
what's going on.
Ish plot.
Yeah.
And then the payoff for the plot is not that amazing. It's just a lot of subversion of traditional fantasy tropes. So like that does it for you.
I am, like I said, I am liking this new one a lot more already. I am more invested in what's going on.
I just like magic, and I feel like he doesn't do magic, like barely.
There's basically no magic so far in this.
I feel like that's what Leanna told me, that like the second series has even less. And I was like, that's not a selling point for me.
Yeah, there's a character that talks to somebody who's like, I am from the Magi or whatever. And the person says something like, magic used to be the way you got power, but now it's just basically been forgotten. I was like, it was kind of, maybe. I feel like they're certainly not really referencing the previous series timeline. And don't understand the hype. I do think there is a certain level of, oh my gosh, it's the most amazing. Like I know the way people talk about them, it's as if there's nothing else out there. I suppose if you're really accustomed, like what Roger's saying, if you're really accustomed to the typical the hero's journey and the traveling, if you're used to that and then you read Abercrombie, it's so different. But I don't think it's that unique to find that tone anymore. I think before Grimdark became more of an official subgenre people talked about and read frequently, sorry. I think it really felt different, but now there's competition. The pessimistic realism with great humor. I do like the humor. Make it better. Oops. I need to read.
Fruit Basket is cute.
I need to read that. I don't want to. You actually can read Best Served Cold on its own. There's just a few characters that'll show up that if you've read the series, you're like, I know who that is. I'm sure there are people who are purists that really feel like you have to, but I need a plot for sure. Yeah, there's basically none. I think you can. I think you can try it. That's fair. It kind of does.
I still haven't read those.
I think, well, I don't know if you would like them. I feel like I don't know that you like when there's nothing. Like they're both such awful people. One of them is worse than the other. But neither of the characters is particularly great. Let's see. Who is this cat?
Oh, Jujubee went behind me.
Cat.
Yeah, because she's over there now. That's Jujubee.
Oh. See, I didn't like Prince of Thorns.
Ooh,
but
that one seems very polarizing, the Mark Lawrence book.
Mm-hmm. Cat tax. So it's been now 27 minutes. I thought we could start because you have to be done in about an hour. So I have this sprint for 45 minutes and then we'll be done after that.
Sounds good.
Okay. Let me get the timer.
All you fantasy fans, read Don DeLillo.
Which one would you recommend, Sean?
Oh, still White Noise.
Yeah.
Still the best. And I'm just kidding. I don't know how much that would be enjoyed. Not fantasy. There's traveling, though. They travel in White Noise. It's a traveling story.
They
in a car.
Are in their car, yeah. Okay. I feel bad because when we do start going off on fantasy things, Sean doesn't really have.
I don't have commentary.
Except about Wheel of Time. So at least
That's
they talk
true.
about a series that you do know about.
That's
you don't
true.
like it, but you know about it.
I will go ahead and get this ready to go. And then we'll give a quick update with our reading after the 45 minutes.
Wonderful. Just wonderful.
Okay, we'll see you all in 45 minutes. Hello. How was your reading?
It was good. How was yours?
Good. What were you reading again?
Feybound?
Oh, that's right. Because I can't listen to the messages yet about it.
Because I'm listening to that, and I'm reading that, and I'm also listening to A Court of Silver Flames.
At the same time?
No, I mean, when I'm at work doing nothing better.
I'm surprised you're already so far into that series.
I read 3 of the books this month, I think. So, like, almost all of it.
I need to catch up on messages, but how did you like the end of the third one? Because it seems like most people don't really like it that much.
It was dumb.
It's dumb. That's what I've heard.
Just like things that they built up for books and books, and all of a sudden it's just like over really quickly, and you're like, okay, well, that was anticlimactic.
Yeah, it's like kind of forced, is what I've heard. How are you liking this newest one, though?
Oh my god, I hate Nesta. I mean, I understand that people coming through trauma can deal with it in different ways, but she is just a nightmare. And it doesn't help that she knows she's a nightmare. So you're like, in her perspective, she's like, I know I'm being an asshole. And I'm like, okay, well then stop. Like,
she's not unaware. She just doesn't care.
I mean, it's just, she's doing that self-flagellation thing of like, oh, my past, I couldn't save people. So now I'm a horrible person. I deserve these. It's like, shut up. Shut up.
Well, my reading was for, like I said, I'm restarting Vinland Saga about halfway through the first bind up, because this is 2, right? 2 volumes in one. So, little Thorfinn makes me sad. It's one of those where you're like, Sean loves the series too, so I feel like.
I think I saw that the anime was on Netflix now, so maybe we'll check it out.
It's good. We haven't finished the anime yet, though, because we were waiting for the end of the manga, and then we got the end of the manga, and then I wanted to restart, so I haven't actually finished the series. But hopefully soon, because I plan to read a decent amount every month. But look at little boy Thorfinn. Look at his sweet little face. And his dad looking forlorn. This part, Sean. So the anime starts different, if memory serves correct, than the manga. The manga starts with an action scene, and I think the anime starts more in the past. And it doesn't take long to go to the past in the manga, but I just actually prefer the way that the anime starts it, because I
take that back.
I don't love the like opening where it's just like, he's so fast, like that kind of thing that you see in a lot of anime manga, where I'm like, okay, but the emotional hits and why they're where they are is what I'm more in love with in this series. Yeah, it starts chronologically. That's what I thought. So I've chosen to read my international relations textbook. It's probably
like a good time.
It's probably interesting, actually. Or annoying. Like maybe that you read it and you're like, this is why nothing gets done. First chapter works better as an introduction, I guess. Yeah, maybe. I think that's fair, because I think in visual mediums, a lot of people like there to be a little bit more going, and once it gets to the past, it's a lot slower, but I think it's so much more emotionally impactful. I like the kitty just
Jujubee.
I have to pass this. Depressing. This is very random, but I was so excited because yesterday we went to this place I heard about, which it's a thrift store and a cafe, and the money goes toward people in like foster care, I believe, kids in foster care. I'm like, oh, that's nice. So we went down there, and I got so excited because they had Huckleberry lemonade. And I love Huckleberry lemonade. Have you ever had it?
No.
Oh, it's so good. I think, anyway. Yes, the kitty is cute. Luna Bear was in here, and then she left. I guess she got bored.
She only likes being in there with you alone. It's not when Sean is there.
Sean, how was your reading?
So good. I loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you being sarcastic or did you actually love it?
I actually loved it. It's
That's
Don
good.
DeLillo. Can't go. It's Don DeLillo plus Cold War. This is like
Sean's
jam, you know, which now that I think about it, he's often talking about the Cold War. So, you know, and atomic bombs.
This is random, but this is where Luna was earlier. So you can see Sean's feet.
Aw,
And Luna was just laying.
sweet
I
little
got her.
Luna, giver of baths.
I got her a new Kong so that you can put like peanut butter and treats and stuff in it. And she had it all, she was all like snuggled up with it. She likes to sometimes roll around on them because I guess it's like a massager for her. So every now and then she's like, she's just rolling all over it, which is pretty funny. Are huckleberries just wild blueberries or are they separate? They're different. And I guess the taste of huckleberries can be different depending on where you get them. So I had huckleberry lemonade the first time we went to Montana. In when we went to Glacier National Park, there's a lot of huckleberry. They have the Huckleberry Hut, I think it's called, at one end of the Going to the Sun Road. And they have what, soaps and fudge and like everything you could think to combine huckleberries with. But it's really, they don't grow in as many places. They don't seem to ship to as many places.
There's also huckleberries in Washington, right?
I think so.
Oregon,
I think the
like
coastal ones taste a little different, and I think are slightly different sizes. Anyway, I was just saying the other day, I was like, I missed huckleberry lemonade, so I got really excited when I saw the jar. And then also, do you want a hand? We went to a farmer's market, and we got this salsa that just says danger, and it has Carolina Reaper in it, so it's good.
Sounds very spicy.
Yeah. Let's see. My chubby cat just crawled into my lap. Such a lap kitty.
Aw.
Other only accepts pets, 0 lap sitting. Oh.
I mean, at least you have one that cuddles.
Sean got to see Joshana's cats the other day because he'd never really actually seen them in person. And he really liked Lily.
I mean, Lily is a little sweetie.
She was all curled up in the laundry on Shauna's bed. She's quite small too, but she randomly just like scampered across the room. But anyway, I feel like pets always have to come up at some point during sprints. But you have to leave to go pick up Alex, right?
I still have like 10 minutes.
You still have 10 minutes. Okay. We had this really weird situation where, do you know the brand Quest? They sell like protein bars and stuff.
It sounds familiar.
So they have these little candies, these like caramel chew chocolate things that are pretty good. And I bought a box from Target, and then I opened the box because I was going to they're individually wrapped, and I was going to put them in this little thing we have in our cupboards. And I opened the box, and some of them are just open, and I was like, that's gross. So I never am like a return food kind of person, but Sean's like, this is a reasonable thing to return.
Yeah, if they're supposed to be individually wrapped and some of them are unwrapped, that seems a little
And
like...
they look kind of gross too, like, because the box was fine. So I don't know how they opened, but it was at least, there's only 8 in a box, and it was like 3 or 4 of them. So we went in, and the girl was like, I was like, oh, I wonder if they're going to give us like, if they're not going to give us our money back. I mean, it's not, they're kind of expensive for, you know, because they're, you know how those things can be. So the girl though was just like, ew. And then she did the return for us. So we're like, we might as well just go get a new box. And then we got home and the same thing in the next box. So I was like, what is this? So we need to go return. That's what we're going to do after this. It's really exciting. Anyway, but it was like, it's icky.
No, that's gross.
Quest candies are so good. They're surprisingly quite
when they're
good.
not unwrapped and spoiled.
Yeah. I don't know what and it was weird because you would expect the boxes to be messed up, smushed, something. But Sean was like, it happened again when he went to open the box. So but then you feel weird because you're like, are they gonna think that we're messing with them to have that happen multiple times in a row? Sean,
I don't think people care that much. Sean would know. Do people care that much when you work at the stores? If you bring shit in to return it?
well, Sean
We
said,
only care when there's stupid things like I bought this really expensive giant thing of meat and then put it in my freezer for 3 months and it went bad. And then it's like,
Are
well,
people
we're
really
not-
that dumb sometimes?
there was somebody who came in.
There was
I can
they
tell
put in
them-
their freezer and so it expanded and broke the wrapping. And then when they pulled it out, like, ew. And they tried to return that like 3 months later.
My
can't do that.
favorite food return story that he's told me is there was a person insisting that they had bought just like a pantry full of dried pasta. And then they came in a while later claiming the pasta had maggots, and they were saying specifically the brand of the grocery store he works for. They were like, oh, it was your guys' boxes that had the maggots, and they got into like all the other boxes supposedly. And they brought in a box and they brought in a Walmart brand. And so Sean was like, this is the Walmart brand. They're like, yeah, but it started in your boxes. And they're like, can you bring some of those in? They're like, I don't have any more. And you're like, okay. I don't think this is true when you bring in stuff that's from a different brand. And then you had something really funny happen the other day. Oh, a lady came in to file for an accident report that she had slipped in like the produce section, which happens, And so Sean asked when this occurred, and when was it again?
May of last year.
And the only reason she came in was what, like her hip had started to like kind of hurt, or her knee or something.
Yeah.
And her friend told her like, you should go in.
Well, I don't know
And-
about that's my guess. My guess is someone was like, you should like do something about that. And you're like, yeah, that's
People really will try to return very odd things.
Today I found out there's this new technician that we have, and she was using, they're called cuvettes. They're these little things that you put liquid in to do different kinds of scans with them. And we had 6 beautiful ones and 2 junky ones that I use for people to train with because they're like $300 each. They're really quite expensive. And she had told me like a week ago that she had misplaced and lost one of them. And I was like, okay. So I went to use them today and I noticed that she had put one of the junky ones in with the nice ones. So I was like, that's weird. And so I looked in the other box and the nice one was in there. And so I tried to take it and she had broken it in half and put it back in the box, hoping that like nobody would notice. And so I was like,
I found it.
I was like, so do you want to tell me about this? She's like, oh yeah, I mean, I lost 2 of them and then I found one of them, but it was broken in half. I was like, well, you do know that means like in 2 weeks you broke like $600 of equipment.
Goodness.
So it's not much better in the sciences either. Just like, do you think I'm not going to notice the next time I look that there's now 2 missing and that one of them is like chipped and old?
Why wouldn't she just hide and like throw away that one?
Or just tell me? Like, I mean, stuff happens, but like,
She's like a little kid afraid of getting in trouble. I work in recreation for city government, and most days are just like Parks and Rec.
that makes me
Which-
so happy.
Roger hasn't seen. We actually Roger and Joshana, I had sent them. Sean sent a really funny Parks and Rec reference, and then I told Roger and Joshana, and I knew Roger hadn't seen it. So I was like, oh, Roger, this won't make sense. And Joshana was like, I don't get this either. And I was like, dang it, because it was really quite a clever reference. It had to do with Ben's claymation. So if anybody knows, I work in it's the same message. Yeah, I really like the joke of when they're trying to do the bailout for the video store. And the guy's like, what does he say? He's like, I've been on unemployment for years and the government hasn't tried to help me.
Hasn't bailed me out.
Hasn't bailed me out. Something like that. You're completely fine. Parks and Rec is very entertaining. Has anybody seen the show Veep? It's kind of like if Parks and Rec was not quirky and was just
Vulgar
relentlessly vulgar and
pretty funny. Pretty
yeah.
darn funny.
And there's a lot of dark jokes.
But politics of a higher, national politics, not local.
Very
speaking
adult.
of dirty jokes, we were watching Brazil's Drag Race, so it was all in Portuguese. And so Alex was making fun of it because there's this one judge who I guess is a lot raunchier than the translator was comfortable with, because they'll either just not translate her or like really change what she said, and he's like, no, 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 she said something really dirty there.
Is it Alex that's telling you, or
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So that's pretty funny.
Yeah, because he was born and raised in Brazil until he was 12, so he still speaks Portuguese. So he's sitting there, he's like, that's not what she said. And then he'll tell me, and I'm like, oh yeah, no, they definitely changed that. Because it'll be something about, she'll make some joke about how she can like put big things in her mouth or whatever, and they'll change it to be like something completely different.
He has a big smile or something like.
Yeah, it's like, he's like, what? No.
Let's see. Broke off a mercury thermometer, then fled, leaving me to discover the mercury hot and open to the air. How is fleeing and leaving us at risk of first response?
Well, first of all, your school should have replaced those mercury thermometers, because I feel like most schools have like taken those out. But I mean, there was the postdoc in my lab who started a massive ethanol fire because it was just like a comedy of errors where, first of all, she had like 700 milliliters of 70% ethanol. Like, I don't know why you need that much. She's literally dipping a rod in it and passing it through the flame to sterilize it. You don't need like a liter of ethanol. So she knocked that over, and instead of turning off the fire to clean it up, she knocked the fire over into it and then set the whole counter on fire, melted some of the light. It was
That's got to just be so embarrassing too.
Well, then she had to call me because I'm the safety rep. So then she called me right when I got home, and she was trying to explain to me what happened. And I was like, she's like, well, it was a little bit cluttered. And I was like, okay, well, you could have cleaned it up before you started. You could have used less ethanol. You could have turned off the flame. You could have, like, every step of the way, stupidity.
Was she?
Oh,
okay?
she's fine.
I always
trying to burn the Erd tree.
Not yeah. The Erd tree just needed some ethanol. What a faster progression that would be if we didn't have to go all the way to the Giant's Forge. Anyway, there was that girl that worked in your lab for a little bit who, I'm not trying to like shame people for how they dress, but you said she would wear like crop tops and like she'd take like so much skin exposed in a kind of dangerous area.
I mean, it was that, and then she was always telling me about how she's going on dates with like basically sugar daddies, being like, we went to a really nice restaurant, it was really expensive. I was like, okay, but did you like enjoy the conversation? Did you like him? Oh, he was fine.
An interesting interesting person.
And then she was hitting on a postdoc upstairs, and she's like, oh yeah, I started ghosting him. And I was like, well, what happens if he like just comes downstairs to talk to you? She's like, well, I'm gonna run into the bathroom and you can just tell him to go away. And I was like, no.
Priorities. I gotta say, I'm very glad that Sean and I met in college, because I don't know what I would just be single for forever. I'd be like, I don't want to deal with anyone or trying to date or anything. I think I would just rather be alone.
Yeah, I'm not very good with like relationship-y stuff sometimes, because like, well, I've only ever had the one, and we're going on 16 years. So when people are like heartbreak, I'm like, I'm so sorry. Can't totally relate, because like
a friend once electrocuted another lab friend in an electromagnetism in uni. Poor guy. It wasn't a lot of voltage, but still we only laughed. Oh no. I remember about lab. It's that they tell you what not to wear.
Or we tell you to put your hair back, because I had one girl when I taught at San Jose State that burned her bangs off because we told her to put her hair back, and she was leaning over the Bunsen burner and just
Oh no. I have had my hair catch on fire before. It's pretty terrifying.
It's a very unique smell.
Yeah. But I will say, I mean, obviously not as much now, but playing violin, it's like always totally. That's why I do a lot of the like hairstyles where everything's pinned back really tight. This is from years of playing violin and not wanting my hair to get in my face when I'm trying to, one, read music, but also just I don't want it something, because there's been times where like the static like pulls the hair, like strands of it, not like off my shoulder or something. Man, all these lab stories, there were always girls who wouldn't wash their hair and they ended up catching on fire.
I mean, just put your hair back. It's not that difficult.
Not that difficult. It's not even close to the same thing, but I worked at one point at Dairy Queen and we served food and ice cream. And yeah, we had to wear our hair back. It's not that hard. It's not that
I
hard.
thought you were gonna say you got your hair caught on fire in
No.
a fryer or something.
We're
I was
about
like,
to get in the air
"Whoa."
in some ice cream.
I think there were any injuries that I can remember at Dairy
I mean, at
Queen.
workplaces, it's a lot stricter. At class, they're going to be like, "Don't do that." At work, they're like, "It's an official write-up. If you do this again, you're fired." So
Well, in my head, I feel like when I was in college, a lot of the instrumental rentals that we had were so expensive that in my head, it's like, at school, you got to be really careful because you don't want to be responsible. There was one grad, I think it was a master's student or something, who was renting one of the violins from the School of Music, and that violin was over $100,000. So, I feel like in my head, Dairy Queen was less of a big deal than that stuff. But I feel like labs, I would be so nervous of getting injured, I would think.
and a lot of the equipment is obscenely expensive. Like our
Yeah.
cutting robot, I think is $200,000. It sounds like it's dumb.
You think it's that people just get so accustomed after years of working in labs that they just kind of don't
I don't
think of
know.
it? Don't know. By the way, what's on your shirt?
Mine, it's Diablo.
Oh, I was wondering if it was the Elden Ring one. Because you have the one, I think they say Millennia, but I always say Millennia.
Yeah, I have
Not
4
that
Elden Ring ones because I have one with Ronnie, one with Blythe, and then one with Melania, and then one with, is it Godfrey? Whatever his name is. The guy at the end with the lion. Godric, Godfrey, God something.
Not Malekith?
No, not the one who turns into a lion. The one that like pummels you, like rips his lion off his shoulder, and then like Hulk smashes you into the earth.
Okay, yeah. There's the I always say Heihachi. Have you played Tekken?
Not a long time.
Oh, I'm gonna have to do a side by side and send you the one from Elden Ring and then Heihachi, and maybe you'll see why I always call
Is
it
he the
that.
guy with the pointy hair?
He has like on the sides of his head. He's old.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tekken 8.
He has this like
Yeah.
old school like Japanese style sandals that he always like walks out in. See, I know some things.
You know lots of things. Well, it is now at least our time 7:08.
Yeah, I should go get Alex
Yeah.
before I leave him outside like a sad child that got left at soccer practice or something.
Tell him we said hello. Oh wait, let's see what Sarah says. I worked in a lab for a while and I definitely got desensitized to how expensive the equipment was, though they could have paid me more to make me care that it was expensive. That would help. A reminder every day, by the way, this stuff is expensive. Well, this was lots of fun. Thanks, Roger, for joining the sprint.
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody who hung out. Yes, good night to all, or whatever time it is for you. Good time. Don't forget to check out merch because all of the money goes towards charity. And we'll see everybody later. Yay, good night. Bye, everybody.